So I'm sure you guys aren't aware of this, but there's a new live-action Beauty and the Beast movie coming out. So in preparation for this, I rewatched the animated version, and it brought some things to my mind that I had never considered before. So I'm gonna bring some of them to your attention too. Let's go. Number 1, the curse's time limit was right about to run out. So it's slightly unclear what happens when the time runs out. Does he just stay a beast at that point and that's it? Because if so, there isn't like any real urgency. He's convinced no one can ever love him because he's ugly, and if that's the case, he'll just be ugly forever. And if it's untrue and people can love him despite his looks, then it won't matter if he's ugly forever. If he thinks Belle almost maybe was in love with him and he just ran out of time, then that's not even that frustrating. She can just fall in love with him later when she gets back. Like, it sucks that he'll have to stay a beast, but that was the status quo already anyway. Hey Beast, maybe if you care that much, you should have told her about the curse and that it's time sensitive. In the new movie, the servants will turn into actual furniture when the last petal falls. So will the beast turn into an actual beast? I would kind of like that because it like raises the stakes. But if that's the case in the cartoon, he at no point warns Belle that that's what's going to happen. And since she's in his castle, it's kind of her business. But instead he tries to actively keep her out of the West Wing and stop the servants from mentioning that there's a curse or enchantment of any kind. So if Belle is supposed to live here forever, then what happens to her when the last petal falls? She's stuck in a castle where the furniture's not alive anymore, so like her closet is now a corpse, and the silverware are also corpses. And then maybe also the beast goes crazy and finds her and eats her. Does the beast even know what happens? Isn't it a little risky of him to take Belle on so close to the deadline? Also, I get that the beast is really angsty and self-loathing, but isn't that a really frustrating way for him to approach it? It's not just his happiness on the line. He apparently just spent 10 years sulking and making no effort to break the curse, which must be great if you're his servant who's stuck being furniture for no other reason than you worked for a rude guy. Number 2, giving Belle the library wasn't actually a kind gesture. When the beast takes Belle as his captive, he tells her she has free run of the castle except the West Wing. And we already know that the library isn't in the West Wing because Lumiere and Cogsworth try to distract her with it when she's exploring. So Belle already has access to the library before the beast gives it to her as an apologetic gesture. It's really just like a coincidence that she didn't end up wandering in there herself before then. That would have maybe lessened the impact of that scene. You know, if he brought her in the library and she's like, oh yes, I know, the library. I was just in here yesterday. It's very nice. Also, just the concept of him giving her the library. Let me just break it down. This scene is like if you started a job at a new office and halfway through the day you had to go find the bathroom. You walk in and your boss is there and they're like washing their hands and you're like, oh, it has automatic soap dispensers. That's kind of cool. Your boss makes this magnanimous sweeping gesture with their arms and goes, if you like it that much, you can use it whenever you like. Like, yeah, I know. Thank you, but also I better be able to use it. You can't really give someone a room in a house they already live in. I mean, I guess since she's his captive, he could make it off limits to her, but like, how vindictive would he have to be to ban her from the library when he can't even read? Anyway, all those books are just gonna alleviate the boredom imposed on her by the beast because he won't let her leave. Is she gonna thank him for feeding and clothing her too? Like, these are all things that you take on when you decide to keep a captive. Number 3, everyone is worthy of redemption unless they're Gaston. So let me go over the reasons we hate Gaston. He's arrogant and overly concerned with how people look, like how the Beast was pre-curse. He can't read books without pictures, like the Beast. He imprisons Belle's father after the Beast has already done that. Oh, also Gaston kills animals for sport, I guess, and the Beast only does that for self-defense. Although they are serving meat in the castle, so somebody's bringing that in. Maybe it's like a terrifying cartoon butcher knife with a face. Basically, the only difference between the Beast and Gaston is that the Beast changes over the course of the movie. The Beast's big catalyst for change is that he's under a curse and he wants to be pretty again. I mean, he's also lonely, I assume. Belle never really attempts to change Gaston. She offers to teach the Beast to read and points out his negative behaviors so she can fix them, and also meets him halfway with some stuff he can't change because he's a big hulking animal. She never really bothers doing that with Gaston, probably because she's not trapped in a castle with him, so if he does stuff that bothers her, she can just like walk away. I guess that's a point in favor of the Beast, that he trapped her there with him. Personally, I think Gaston's interest in Belle already raises some questions about his motivations. He says it's because she's the most beautiful girl in town, but that doesn't seem to have made her well liked. Also, it's hard to tell in a cartoon, but her face looks looks almost identical to those three busty blondes that follow Gaston everywhere. Maybe he just doesn't like blondes. I mean, it's kind of interesting that Gaston is the most popular guy in town and he wants to marry Belle, this weirdo social outcast that everybody gossips about. Maybe Gaston just likes a project. Like Belle does. I know the reason Gaston exists is he's like the Beast's character foil. Like, the Beast looks like a beast, but he's kind. And Gaston looks like a man, but he's beastly. But this doesn't really fly when you look at the bare bones actions of each of the characters, and they do a lot of the same stuff. Anyway, Gaston sucks. Let's throw him off a roof. Number 4, Mrs. Potts has lots of children, but she only loves Chip. I don't really have anything else to say about that. It just always bothered me. Number 5, the magic mirror is cursed. This isn't really something I believe is true, but it is a conspiracy theory supported by the material. And what else is YouTube for? So we see characters use the magic mirror 3 times. The first time the Beast is looking at Belle, and he finds out that she's crying in her room and she's like at her most miserable angry point in probably the whole movie. Then Belle uses it to look at her father. She finds out he's coughing and dying in a snowdrift. Then Belle uses it to look at the Beast, and it turns out he's like dying of sadness. So my point here is that the magic mirror is jinxed. It's like the cursed camera in the Goosebumps book. If you ever ask this mirror to show you somebody, it's gonna show them to you, but it's gonna show you that they're like really upset or dying because they're really upset. That must have been pretty frustrating for Belle. Show me my father. Oh no, he's like dying. I have to go save him. My father's not crazy. Show me the Beast. Oh, he's also dying. That was fast. Do you think she caught on after the second time it happened? Or after she saved the Beast, was she like, I better check in on how my father's doing? Only to discover that her father is, again, unable to like function and is just lying face down in a duck pond somewhere. Oh, my father needs me. I have to go again. And like, by the way, what is with the men in her life? Like, girl, I get that you don't like Gaston, but at least you can turn your back on him for a second and you're not going to find him choking on something he found on the ground. Did she ever give the mirror back to the Beast after the movie ended? If she did, I hope she was like, please never look at me in this again. Anyway, those are my... I don't remember what the unifying theme is for this list. Those are 5 things that I thought about regarding Beauty and the Beast, implications of the story, and not like the same 5 plot holes everyone else points out, like the crazy timeline or some lame joke about bestiality. But I'm sure we'll see those in the comments from everybody that didn't watch the whole video first, so that'll be fun. Anyway, I feel like the live action one might end up addressing some of these things, but maybe it won't. I don't know. Either way, I hope it's good. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Bye! I'm just gonna start doing that now, where if somebody says they like something, I gift it to them, even when it's clearly not in my authority to do so. Like, if somebody's already halfway through eating a plate of food and they're like, this is great, I'm gonna go, if you like it that much, it's yours. They're admiring the Grand Canyon. If you like it that much, it's yours.